So today we're going to talk about digital network architecture and digitisation. So digital network architecture, also known as DNA. So as you know, a lot of clients like yourself are looking to digitise. And in terms of what does that actually mean? Ultimately, it's about automation of business processes through the use of IT. So for example, that would be Uber or Airbnb, where they're utilising their technology through an application that is ultimately giving them access to a revenue stream that wouldn't usually be available to them unless they had hotels, unless they had the taxi infrastructure. So what are the reasons why companies are doing this? Well, I guess to start with, it's to simplify their internal processes and make them a little bit quicker in terms of speed to market. It's also around shortening that client buying cycle. So I guess the shorter that cycle is, the more they can sell. And ultimately it is about that. It's about saving time, saving cost and making more money. So in terms of what Cisco have done to kind of approach this, they see a challenge here. And this challenge is the current install base that they've got out there. So in today's data center, we have kind of your data center switching. So for Cisco World, that's your Nexus 2357K. You then have your kind of servers, so that would be your UCS platform, and then of course your storage on top. And all this is fine, and it works, but it's very slow to provision. It's very slow to change anything and make a difference when you're trying to do these creative things. And that's the same in the network. So on the network side, traditionally we will see kind of your Catalyst, let's say 3K for your layer 3. You'd have your wireless, and on top you'd have your security ICE, identity security engine. You'll then have your one at the bottom, which Cisco currently have the ISR. So across each and one of these, this is what a traditional Cisco customer would have. And all above is fine again, but in the network piece, again, slow to provision and slow to make any kind of changes. And the challenge that we've got is that you've got these guys over here called DevOps, who are the guys creating these applications. And to do that, they need a lot of power. They need to be able to make changes really quickly, and they get frustrated. So what these guys do, they're going out to the cloud. And what they're able to do there is move workloads around. They're able to spin things up quickly. If it's not working, they can make changes quickly. However, over time, that kind of cost is increasing, and I guess the control is ultimately going down. And by control, what I mean is that the ability to withdraw some of those workloads, bring them back in-house and get that kind of control and ownership back, is very difficult to do, and it does take a lot of time to do that once it's out in there. So Cisco realised this, and what they decided to do was develop what they call software-defined networking. So within that, they created the Nexus 9K, which is more powerful switch with ultimately, as it says, software-defined. And on top of that, they have their ACI. Now, ACI is effectively, it automates and speeds up the provisioning of the data center. So you're turning kind of days, weeks into minutes. So, now a client can spin up an app in its own infrastructure as quickly as it can in the cloud. And using Clicker, which is actually called Cloud Center, they're able to move them between on-prem or in-house and the cloud environments. What they've also added for acquisition something called tetration, and this is kind of data center forensics, if you like. So it's able to identify what's going on in the data center and where that is happening. Now, within that piece, this has now enabled the speed of the management, the kind of provisioning to all speed up. But what they've also done is they've hyper-converged the converged platforms using what they call Hyperflex. And this simply puts your storage, your server and your compute into a single chassis. Again, increasing the efficiency, increasing the kind of speed to provisioning, and ultimately increasing the ability to do what they want at the speed that they want to do it. So now the data center is faster, that's great. However, the network is still in its traditional state. So Cisco knew this, and again, they made some changes in-house, and they made some change to the technology. So what we saw was something called SDA, which is software defined access. We saw the 9K, which is the more powerful all singing and dancing switch that enables the software defined access. We saw the network data plane come into place. And what this is ultimately network analytics, and it's an automated self-healing network analytics. So a bit similar to what we've got in tetration, but on the network side. We've then got what we call ETA, which ultimately enables visibility inside encrypted traffic, so very important for malware and ransomware protection. And then on top of all of this, we've got the DNA data center, or DNA center. And what this does is it's basically a single place of where you can have policy management and control access across the entire network, all from one kind of portal. So very important, and this is where the new acquisition of Viptela sits, which I guess brings us on to the WAN piece. So down here, obviously, if you've got a great speedy data center, faster provision, you've got a fantastic network, but you get to the WAN and you can't actually get anywhere across it because of the speeds on the WAN, then this is a big problem. So usually wide area networks provisioning, you're looking at a 90-day lead time just to get a circuit in. It can be very cumbersome and takes a long time, which clearly doesn't help the digitization story. So you've seen clients move across from kind of ISDN to MPLS, then using IWAN, which effectively is just routing traffic over the internet. And now Cisco have brought in something called ENCS. And what this is a server that has the ability to do routing in the same way that IWAN does, so over the internet. So what that gives is the ability to ship out a server, which can take 4 weeks, let's say. They plug it in. You've got the ability, as long as you've got an internet connection, to kind of route your traffic with immediate effect. So that's brought the lead times of provisioning down significantly. Now, if we take that into summary, what we've got there is a data center where you can provision your app. You can now protect that and see what's going on inside the data center. You can protect the access. You can get it through your network. You can segment where you need to across that network where the app is being used. You can track the performance, and using the analytics and using ETA, you can ensure it's protected against malware and ransomware. And you can now get it across your WAN really quickly. Now, once the app's out there, what do we want to do with it? So as a CEO, kind of COO, you'd want to be understanding the performance of that app and what is it doing for the business. Cisco again saw this, and they acquired a company called App Dynamics. And what App Dynamics do is they enable the ability to track that app, track the performance of that app at different stages throughout its journey. And ultimately you can measure where hotspots might be on a certain day. You might be able to see whether utilisation is not so good in a certain geography. So for example, we sat down with HSBC and we said, where is your largest bank? Where are you making the most money? And they said, well, it's obvious, it's in the centre of London. And they said, well, no, actually, you're wrong. It's the 9:40 coming from Euston, travelling north on a Friday morning. And the ability was given by the use of App Dynamics to see exactly where that application was being utilised and to what extent. So it has some real power there. So that's kind of the journey of digitisation, and ultimately Cisco are there as our dimension data to help you through that. If there's any areas here that you'd like to have a conversation about, let's do that, and we can bring in the right people to talk to you in a little bit more detail. Thank you.